All right, let's play detective today. We're going to crack open a single stock chart and figure out what story it's really trying to tell us. We'll be looking for clues, weighing the evidence, and hopefully uncovering the truth hidden in the numbers. Let's get into it. So, every investigation starts with a mystery, right? And here's ours. You see a stock that's up over 4% for the day. Your first thought? Hey, that's great, a clear win. But you know, in the world of stock charts, the headline number almost never tells you the whole story. So is it actually good news? Let's find out.
Our subject for this investigation is a company called Profusa, and its ticker is PFSA. Now, just like any good detective, we got to get to know our subject before we can really understand its behavior. This is our, let's call it, the scene of the crime.
Okay, here's the case file with the basic facts. PFSA closed at just under 13 cents. And yeah, it was up over 4% on the day. That's our first clue. But look a little closer. Its 52-week range is all the way from 7 cents up to 50 cents. So even with this pop, it's still way down near its yearly low. Now that is a critical piece of context.
You know, every investigation has conflicting evidence. So first, let's look at the clues that might suggest things are actually turning around for PFSA. What evidence is there that this 4% jump could be the start of something real?
So, our first piece of technical evidence comes from an indicator called the MACD. Now, don't let that name scare you. All you really need to know is that it helps analysts, or detectives in our case, see shifts in momentum. And when its lines cross in a certain way, it can be a buy signal.
And what do we find for PFSA? Well, look at that, a fresh bullish crossover. The source material is quick to point out that it's weak, which is an important little detail, but hey, it's still a point in the positive column. It's our first clue that momentum might just be starting to shift. Next up, we have something called the parabolic SAR. This one's pretty visual. Just imagine a series of dots that kind of trail the price on a chart. When those dots flip from being above the price to below it, that's another potential signal to buy.
And wouldn't you know it, just like our last clue, the parabolic SAR for PFUSA has officially flipped. It's giving a buy signal. Okay, so that's two technical clues starting to line up, both suggesting a potential turnaround could be in the works.
And our final set of bullish clues? It's all about short-term strength. The price has clawed its way above its average price from the last 5 days and the last 10 days. It's also above something called the pivot point, which is a level traders watch really closely. So in the super immediate term, things are looking stronger. The case for a turnaround is definitely built.
But wait. Any good detective knows you can't just find evidence that fits your theory and call it a day. You have to look for the counter evidence. And for PFSA, let me tell you, the counter evidence is powerful. It tells a completely different story.
This chart just lays the problem out plain and simple. That first bar, that's today's price. Those two bigger bars next to it, those are the average prices over the last 50 and 200 days. The current price isn't even close. This shows that despite one good day, the big, long-term trend is still pointing firmly down. And there's a huge, immediate obstacle. I want you to picture a brick wall right above the current price, sitting at 13 cents. This isn't just any wall. It's built out of two different technical indicators that have lined up at the exact same level. That makes it a really tough barrier for the stock to break through.
100. That's it. Just a single number. But believe me, this number is another massive piece of counter evidence. So, what does it mean?
That number comes from an indicator called the Stochastic RSI. Basically, it measures momentum on a scale from 0 to 100. And a reading of 100 means the upward move is totally running on fumes. It's maxed out. That strongly suggests this little rally's probably going to run out of gas really soon.
So we've got clues pointing in both directions, right? The bulls have a few things to hang their hats on, the bears have a lot. But in most investigations, there's that one piece of evidence that just changes everything. The smoking gun that solves the case. And for PFSA, we've got one. 0.57. This right here, this is our smoking gun. This tiny number tells us almost everything we need to know about that 4% gain we started with.
So what does this number even represent? It's the volume ratio, and all it does is compare how many shares were traded today to how many are traded on an average day. A ratio of 1x is just an average day. Anything above 1 is high volume, and anything below 1 is low volume.
And at 0.57x, PFSA rallied on only about half of its normal trading volume.
As the source material puts it, this lack of participation just completely undermines the move. It's kind of like winning a race, but then finding out only half the people showed up to compete. The victory just feels hollow. It lacks conviction. It lacks proof.
Okay, the case is just about closed. We've looked at the bullish clues, the bearish counter evidence, and we've found our smoking gun. It's time for the final verdict. So here it is, the final tally, laid out side by side. You see on the left, we've got a few minor short-term positives, but on the right, the negatives are just overwhelming. The rally happened on super weak volume, it's staring up at a wall of resistance, the long-term trend is bearish, and its upward momentum is already totally exhausted. The evidence is pretty clear here. So, what's a detective to do now? Well, the final verdict is to be cautious. That 4% gain was not the good news it looked like at first glance. The strategy now is to just watch that 13-cent brick wall. If it breaks through that level on really high volume, well, that would be new, compelling evidence. But if it fails, the price is probably headed right back down. And that brings us all the way back to our initial mystery. A 4% gain isn't always good news. The real story is always more complicated, more nuanced. So the next time you look at a stock chart, I want you to ask yourself, what are the clues that are hiding in plain sight? What's the real story here, beyond just the price?